We're going to have a little trouble there. We were going to we're going to work out the bugs here. We're starting this new thing where at 1 o'clock every day we pick a song that makes us happy, that makes us laugh.
What was your song
And
today,
I'm
Ron?
not going to say it because you didn't
We're
come
going
over.
to have a conversation.
Here it is.
We're going to get some information. It's going to be a sensation.
I like this too. This is your choice.
It's a celebration. It's going to get funky, funky, donkey, spunky.
Horse is taking off his clothes back there, Ron. He's dancing.
I love this. What up with that? Oh, what up with that? This is Saturday Night Live, the Andre Cole. And it always makes me smile.
Me too.
Every day at 1 o'clock, we're going to pick. What's up,
Great choice, Ron. Great choice.
So tomorrow you pick one, something that makes us happy, that makes us want to dance.
Yeah.
And after working with you for 3 hours, man, I need a pick-me-up.
It's amazing how music can change a mood, isn't it?
It sure is.
Nice choice, Ron. What should we call that segment? Mood changer?
Mood change. That sounds good to me.
The mood changer. And we'll think about that. Ed Bouchette, our Steelers insider, he's on the Nemacolin fan hotline, and no open for him. Okay. That's okay, Horse. Ed is on the Nemacolin fan hotline. I'm sure he won't be offended. He's our Steelers insider. Ed, did you like Ron's choice for a feel-good song there?
Which song was that?
I don't even know what it was. What was it, Ron?
It's from the Saturday
Did he not
night.
hear it?
It's no, Ed probably doesn't watch Saturday Night Live. It's way night past his bedtime.
I used to watch it when it first came out. What was that?
That was
1975?
man, that was a long time ago, wasn't
Yes,
it?
it was.
All those people with Chevy Chase and Jane Curtin and Aykroyd, all those people became stars there first, right?
Yes, they did. And you're forgetting the big one from Animal House.
John Belushi.
John Belushi.
Yep.
Eddie Murphy was on. It started there, right?
Yeah, I guess I don't remember him being the first season, but whatever.
How you doing, Ed?
I'm doing great, Ron and Joe.
You ready for the draft here?
No.
You wish we could talk about it for 6 more months, right?
Well, you guys can talk about it for another 3 weeks, right? Isn't that what we have? About 3 weeks now?
3 weeks from tomorrow, exactly.
Yeah.
Mercifully, yes. So what is your gut feel in the end here, Ed? If they get, let's say, Willis or Pickett happens to slip to 20, do you think the Steelers will take one of those guys? They're doing an awful lot of work. Is it just due diligence, or do you think they will draft a quarterback?
Well, just because they're doing the work doesn't mean they're going to draft a quarterback, Joe. But they certainly look like they're preparing to if they get the chance, right? Getting the chance is the big question because those two guys you mentioned. I mean, I don't know that anybody has them falling to number 20. Anybody who's other than Joe from Blawnox. I don't see that. So therefore, I don't see them drafting a quarterback because I don't think they're going to move up. I don't think those guys are going to fall down, and I don't think you just take one of those other quarterbacks just to do it.
Ed, I feel the same way. I'd just as soon see a defensive lineman come in here. I think they have a couple other needs. And again, if there's somebody you really like, but if it's somebody you really love, I would trade up if it's somebody I really love, but I just don't know they feel that way.
Ron, let me say this. I'd rather see them draft a quarterback than anything because there's not a better story than when your team you're covering drafts a quarterback in the first round. So I'm pulling for that. I really am. I don't care if he's any good or not. What do I care?
What's only happened, once in our lifetime, our career, right? You weren't covering when Bradshaw went one, and
No.
Ben is the only one.
Well, Mark Malone was a first-round
Oh,
pick,
that's right. I forgot about him.
but that was before I was put on the beat. I was covering him, in suburban papers.
I
and
forgot
stuff.
about Mark.
But, 1980. But that was it. But, I remember it was a big deal when they drafted Bubby Brister in the 3rd round. back in 1986. That was a big deal.
They also
But
drafted.
they really didn't have a
Did they have a
guy.
first round grade
they
on
drafted
Bubby?
Mason
Ed?
Rudolph in the 3rd round and had a first-round grade on him.
Bubby turned out okay. I mean, if he'd have had a better team around him, more commitment, and if they'd have stayed
Come
with
on,
him.
Ed. Bubby couldn't play, but he was the greatest story of all time. I mean,
You're wrong.
You're
wrong.
I'm not.
You're wrong.
I'm not saying he. No, I'm not saying that. But the reason you liked him so much was he gave us some great stories.
He helped the Denver Broncos win a Super Bowl.
By what? Holding the clipboard?
No, I mean, you don't know your history. John Elway was hurt, and he won like 5 or 6 games. Who are you laughing at? I'm telling you the truth.
I like the back and forth, Ed. I like it early. That's what I'm laughing at here.
I just remember the great stories, the Joe Walton stuff.
Well, there were great stories.
The wind off the lake. The wind off the lake. That was one of my all-time
favorites. If it wasn't for a
favorites.
drop pass, he would have led them to the AFC Championship game with a win over Elway in '89.
Was he better than Neil O'Donnell?
Yes, I think he was.
Neil O'Donnell led him to an AFC Championship and a Super Bowl.
A Super Bowl visit, and then he blew it. One of the worst Super Bowls of all time.
Did he blow it, or did his wide receivers blow it?
No, he blew it.
Okay. All right.
Ed, I'm looking at a very special book here. I'm actually looking at a story, and I want to know if you recognize the lead to this story from September 21st, 2004. And I quote, "The excitement that rookie quarterback Ben Roethlisberger might bring Sunday in Miami to his first NFL start is not what co-captain Alan Faneca prefers." Who wrote that, Ed? Who wrote it?
I don't know who wrote it, but I know who asked Faneca the question. It was Jerry DePaula.
I do remember that. And you wrote that story, Ed, and you're prominently mentioned in this new book called Quarterback of Steel, as is Ron. I even got one column in there. Jerry Dulac mentioned it's a tremendous book, and you had a lot of great stories in it. A lot of great stories.
Who wrote it?
All of us.
It's
when you
just
used to work at the Post-Gazette, it's a Post-Gazette book.
Compiled by the Post-Gazette.
Did the Post-Gazette put it out?
A zillion pictures that are just
I'll
priceless.
be waiting for my royalty check.
A zillion
Till the day
pictures.
I die, right? Till the day I die.
Here's another one,
Joe
Ron.
hasn't
Listen
been
to
able
this.
Joe hasn't been able to put it down.
Listen to this Ed Bouchette lead, and I mean this in all sincerity, Ed. You're one of the greatest lead writers ever. Here's Dateline Miami. Rookie quarterback Ben Roethlisberger shook off the muck, the rain, the inexperience, and the NFL's #1 defense last night to help the Steelers beat the Miami Dolphins 13-3 in the aftermath of Hurricane Gene. You remember that night?
I do remember that night. I mean, Jerry Dulac and I we had to change planes because ours was canceled. We virtually flew into a hurricane. Supposed to fly to Fort Lauderdale. We switched to Miami, and I'm on the phone, one of those plane phones that cost like $100 a minute to make calls, and I'm trying to find us a hotel because the other one we had, which was on the beach, by the way, damn it, was closed. So we found finally like a courtyard open or something. There were trees strewn everywhere. I'll never forget that. Dulac lost his luggage. We had to go to a Walmart or something down there so he could buy himself some clothes.
Ron, may I read one more of Ed's leads?
Collier and I made that trip down. We stayed at a Residence Inn. There was nowhere around to eat. We didn't eat anywhere. We were watching Pitt and Furman play that day.
Yes.
Pitt almost
Yes.
lost to Furman. And Collier got a line out of it for his trite column. The announcer goes, the guy from Pitt was lined up to kick the winning field goal, I think, perfectly between the hashes. And the guy on the announcer goes, kickers hate to be right into the middle of the field like that. It was an unbelievable line at the time. We had nothing to eat, and we didn't realize we were in a Residence Inn that had popcorn in the room. We never even saw it until the next day. We ate nothing that night.
To bring the story full circle, I watched the Furman game in the hotel on the computer. Not really watching it, just like the ESPN updates, with Jerry DePaula. Here's another lead for you, Ed. Comparing Ben Roethlisberger and Terry Bradshaw is foolish, unfair, illogical, and impractical, so let's do it. Let me ask you, let me update you on that one. Ed, you have one game to win to save the planet Earth, which could need saving very shortly, incidentally. and you have prime Ben and prime Terry Bradshaw, and everything else is equal, which quarterback you taking?
Whose rules am I playing by?
Oh, that's a good question. Today's rules.
Then I'm taking Ben because Bradshaw was a deep guy and loved to throw deep. He wasn't a soft pass kind of guy. So I'd take Ben.
All right, Ed. A couple contract-type questions for you. The Steelers going to do a deal with Minkah Fitzpatrick?
They're going to try, I think, Ron. But I don't know that I'd pay him the kind of money that he might think he's going to get. But, they don't have any safeties right now either, right? Now, he's going to play for him this year. But if they don't get one, safety's going to be a weak spot again. I think they will. Yes, I think they'll sign him.
And
would you?
Go ahead.
Would you make him the highest paid safety in the game?
Would I? No. No, I wouldn't. That's not your strongest position. I don't think he had as good a season last year as before. He's basically a center fielder. I can find a center fielder.
What do you make of that, Ron?
It's a lot of money for a safety, but he's a big play guy, or has been. I mean,
was not last year.
Yeah, he picked it up in the second half. I remember Tomlin saying, "Easy, relax. He'll get some turnovers." He did a little bit in the second half, but you're right. The other guy is Deontay Johnson. Are you seeing what these receivers are getting these days?
Yeah. He's not going to get it.
And he shouldn't get it, should he?
Well, he's going to want it, which means he's not going to be reasonable. And maybe he shouldn't be. And so I don't think he's going to get it. Now, what those other receivers had, well, they didn't. I mean, a couple of them forced trades in order to get new contracts, right? I mean, it's crazy to me. I remember Tom Donahoe saying receivers are a dime a dozen, and I think a lot of people still think that way, except, Kansas City made the greatest deal of all time, I think. It's like that Herschel Walker deal that the Cowboys made.
I agree with you on that. I think that was brilliant. To avoid spending that money, you get the best years of his career, and you get a bounty in return. I mean,
right, yeah.
Fantastic.
And you still got the great quarterback who's made him look good.
So there's been a lot of talk about bringing a veteran into that room. Does Jarvis Landry tickle your fancy, Ed?
For a year or two, he would, Joe. Again, what's the money? But he can pick up. I thought they should have kept Juju, and maybe they tried and couldn't. But Landry can do that job for you. And I know, I keep saying they're not going to a Super Bowl this year, but them. They think they can. So if you do, you better get some receivers here.
Ed, how about Tyrann Mathieu? He's still out there?
No,
or you
I don't
think,
like him.
You think Edmonds? There's speculation he wants to really play for Tomlin. I don't know. Maybe he'd take less do that. If he would take less, would you be interested, or would you rather have Terrell Edmonds?
I'd rather have Edmonds. He's 25 years old. Matthew's, 30? Is he 29, 30? He's not over the hill yet, but he's 5'9". I mean, I don't know. I think if he had a different nickname, he wouldn't be as well thought.
A lot of people will speculate, say that. That's for sure.
That his nickname made him a 3-time first-team All-Pro?
That he's sexier.
It doesn't hurt, Joe.
He's sexier because of his nickname than he might ordinarily be.
I don't know if I'm buying that one.
It's like Bronco Nagurski. If his name was Charles, would you even be talking about it?
Oh, I didn't think Bronco Nagurski was going to come up today, Ed.
Cope was always big on nicknames. I think that's why. You remember those guys.
That's true. That part is absolutely true. What do you make of the early line? We were kind of surprised by this the other day.
Yeah, I heard you talking yesterday.
7.5 wins. What do you think?
I think it's about right. I mean, they'd have to go 8 and 9 to better that. Yeah, it's good. I think 8 wins. No, 7.5. They always go a half.
It has to be a half to
Yeah.
You know what I mean? To either
right.
win it, right?
They
Win
don't
it or
want
lose
pushes.
it. Right.
Yeah, they don't want pushes. I know you guys thought it was a little low. I don't know. I don't think this team's going to be very good.
A lot of it depends on Trubisky, right?
Trubisky, and again, you can say this with every team. Injuries because they don't have a lot of depth. You know, Devin Bush, those guys are terrible inside again. Look out defense. Who's your free safety? I mean, who's your strong safety? Your corners aren't deep. I don't know. Najee Harris gets hurt. Katie bar the door.
Not if they still have Kalen
You can't
Ballage.
go like that. You really can't go like that because you can do that with every team. You know, what happens if Tom Brady gets hurt? Who are they playing?
No, but you're right, Ed. I think that, we saw how thin they were, for example, on the defensive line last year.
Right.
And they still seem to be thin at inside linebacker, perhaps.
Wide receiver.
Wide receiver.
Jesus. They got to draft a couple wide receivers.
Offensive line, perhaps.
Tackle. The inside seems to be okay now with them signing a couple guys, right?
Yes.
I mean,
maybe.
But who's the tackle after the starters? You don't have anybody.
Is General Haig still here?
He's still there. He's the guard/tackle. Yep, he's the number one backup right now.
Anything else for Ed today, Ron?
I don't think so. You didn't want to get into a fight with him, so we'll save that till next
Why
week.
not?
You
Come
save
on.
that till next week.
Save that topic for next week?
Yeah, we're running out of time.
All right, Ed. Ed,
Which quarterback are they going to draft? Which quarterback? You guys didn't even bring up quarterback. I'm happy.
We most certainly did.
You didn't ask me which one they were going to draft.
Which one are they going to draft?
I don't know. How would I know?
Do you think? Well, let me ask you this to finish: is Kenny Pickett? We've been going over this thing by the day here with a fine-tooth comb, and I still don't know that I have a feel for whether the Steelers love this guy, don't like him at all. You know, on the field, obviously, I'm talking. What do you think their opinion of him is?
I think they like him, but I think they love Willis. And at 6 foot tall, they should get out of love for Willis. That's my opinion.
Hey, so Pickett's got small hands, and this guy's just small, right?
Yes, I'm sorry, I don't like that as the quarterback of the future.
I don't like him playing necessarily. What kind of competition does Liberty play, you know?
Well, you could say that about the guy they took in 1972 from Louisiana.
Yeah.
Or the guy they took in 2004,
Ben
for
was
that matter.
from Miami of Ohio, but that's still big steps up from Liberty.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. It is. It is.
Thank you, Ed.
They're not going to get him anyway because somebody else is going to grab him.
See, Ed?
How many wins for the Red Sox this year, Ed? Over, under 94.5?
120.
120 and 42. 62.
Without
42.
banging any drums.
Ed, are you going to go to a baseball game this year?
Nope.
You don't even go for a nice night out, huh?
Ron, I can pick a million things to do a nice night out without going down there in that small crowd, parking, spending $10 on beers. And I can get a case of that for $10.
That's the kind of
Will you
beer
make one more
drink.
pilgrimage to Fenway?
Probably not. I've seen it. I saw it before all the hoopla, you know, when there was a net up on left field, not seats.
A more relevant topic is, will you go to Latrobe this summer?
No, I ain't going to Latrobe.
I think they're going to be back, right, with everything else.
Yeah, I
opening
think
up.
they'll be back. You won't see me there.
See, Ed.
Thank you,
See
Ed.
you, fellas.
There he goes,
He's
Ed
been
Bouchette.
feistier and feistier in his old age.
Isn't he?
He is.
He had some strong opinions there. Wouldn't take Malik Willis. What was the other one? Oh, he wouldn't pay Minkah. He wouldn't
And
make him
certainly
the
not
highest
pay-
paid
Certainly
safety.
not pay Deontay either.